For some people, the love language is, asking me about my friends that I see, in that state. I need a job. I need to get out of my company, or I don't have a job and I need a job. You're going to get signals about what it's like to work there.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first episode. Today we have a very special guest. It's Miss Liz Ryan. Hi, Miss Ryan.
Hello.
Hello.
So, could you please introduce yourself for the people that don't know you?
Salut, Raresh, si tuturor. Bună
Bună
Wow!
ziua,
ziua.
ce mai
Wow! Bună ziua!
Yeah.
Suntem bine.
Nu vorbesc română, but I just a few words. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on your first episode.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us.
Of
Thanks for
course.
joining us.
So, could you tell us a bit about the human workplace?
Sure. Well, I'm really a human resources person from many years, and because I did HR and I loved I love that work, and I love making an organization sing, really be a wonderful place for people to work, and I feel like that's such an important piece of leadership and management is the people energy in a place. I started our company, Human Workplace, to make work human 15 years ago. And so now, we work with organizations and with working people and people who are in transition. And the message is that work is better when it's more human. And so I write and speak about this topic and all the subtopics related to it, hiring and training and leadership and communication, and for individuals, how to feel stronger and to know your value and to run your career the way a CEO runs a business. Because your career is a business. It is a business. And sometimes people in transition and students feel, I don't know if I'm really that important. I don't know if I'm really special. I feel a little bit, hesitant or apologetic for my background. And I just really want people to know, it's not true. You're awesome and amazing. And the employer that gets you on their team is going to be very lucky. So keep that in mind.
That's amazing. We have a few questions for you.
Sure, let's go.
And the first one would be, what are some strategies that students can use to figure out which path they should follow after high school? And for example, what would you tell a student that doesn't really find any subject particularly interesting?
Sure. Well, first of all, the fact that our system in our society in Romania, in the United States, in the West, and also the East, requires young people to decide at age 16 or 17 or 18, here's what I'm going to do when I'm an adult. That's not a good system, right? That's not a good system, because who knows? Why would you know? I went to school, out of high school, I went to music school because I love to sing, and I sing now. I'm going to do music. I had no idea what career path might be after that. And most students don't. So you're dealing with, all young people are dealing with a not wonderful system that says you're 17, Radesh, make up your mind. Make up your mind. Eduardo, Nectari, Cristea, who's here, make up your mind. I don't have the information. What are all the jobs? What does it take to do the job? There's going to be new jobs coming up every year. I don't know. How would I decide? It's fine to take a gap year or two. I know you folks are in college, right? So you didn't do that. That's fine. Or maybe you did. But if you choose a subject and you choose a major, you really can't make a mistake. I don't want any young people to put too much pressure. It doesn't matter. I studied music. I'm an HR person. You're going to be able to use whatever you learn in your career. You can't make a mistake. Our Buddhist friends say nothing is wasted. So all of the learning is going to help you eventually. But in terms of making that decision, if there's no subject in high school that is interesting to you, you could travel the world, you could get a job, you could go to trade school and see what that's all about, or you could go to college and wait before you pick a major and just take general classes and see if anything sparks your interest. That's the key, right? What you love, you're going to do better and you're going to be more successful at.
Can I add something about what you said?
Of course.
I find it really awesome that in your culture there's this gap year. Like, for example, for us in Romania, many of our parents would probably have like a disappointed face if they would hear such a thing, and they would probably say that, oh, you're not ready, or you're not going to do anything in life. And I find it really awesome that in America it's this concept of doing such a thing.
If your parents have any problems with your decisions going forward, Christina, let me talk to them. Because, you know, I have kids, I have 5 kids, and it's normal for parents to be worried about their children. They love you, right? Of course, they love you. They want to take care of you and they want you to be safe. And so keeping children safe is such a big priority for parents that they can actually limit you and say, I want you to be safe, so I don't want you to do this thing that might be risky, but that's how you learn. That's how you get stronger, right? Did you happen to see the movie, Christina, Finding Nemo? That movie?
Firstly, please call me David.
David, I'm sorry. It's inverted.
No problem. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. David. Did you see
I
Nemo?
think I've seen it a couple of times as a child, but
It's a
recently,
little orange
no.
fish. It's a little clownfish.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so it's the idea, the story in there is that you have to let children go live their life, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the message. And it's true. It's true in real life. I understand why parents might have a disappointed face. I wanted my child to go straight to college, but there's no magic in that. The magic is who is this child? Let me listen to my son or daughter and hear what they want to do. At any point, if you decide to make a shift, you decide to do something different, it's fine. You are not locked into a box. That would be disappointing. If the first thing that you thought you were interested in at age 17 turned out to be your fate and you had no control over that for the rest of your life, that would be very bad. So it's the idea that, you know, we're opening up possibilities because the world is changing so fast. In any case, you could start something tonight in your dorm or your apartment, and it could be a business that could change the world.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So, as you said, you have a lot of experience in the HR domain, and I'm curious, how should we make sure our first interview is going to be successful?
That's great. I would be happy to answer that, Eduardo. I want to say your English is so good. How come your English is so good?
Our teachers, I would say.
Teachers are awesome. And you are awesome students. That's really impressive. I don't know 4 or 5 American kids that speak Romanian as well as you do as a second language.
Most of us are learning since really young.
Since young? Well, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. The question was interview. Here's the key. Okay, here's the key that I teach all young people and also old people. You start here. This is the hiring manager, your boss, if you get the job. Yes. So you have to say, this is the customer, right? In an interview, this is the customer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's say the job, this might not be the job, but it's an easy example to understand. Let's say the job is at a a store, a retail store where you go to buy a TV or, you know, iPad or something. What store would that be? What's the name of that store in Romania?
Altex,
It's
I would
like
say.
Altex, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Altex.
we
Okay.
can use American terms also.
Okay. Well, Target in the United States would be
Yeah.
Target.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Target,
familiar to that
So
name.
Target. So Altex, Target. You've got an interview coming up for a job, and the entry level job, the first job at Target, maybe Altex too, is the person who goes in the parking lot and gets the carts, the shopping carts, because they all end up in the parking lot and someone has to bring them back to the store, right? And they help people get out to their car. If it's a big box, it's heavy, and they kind of run around. It's the basic job. A lot of times people in high school or college would start with this job, yes, at Altex or Target. So let's say you go to an interview and this is the job you're interviewing for. They call it a cart attendant because they go get the carts, right? So you go on the interview and here's your customer, the hiring manager, your boss, your manager, if you get this job, and here's you. And so you're going to look at their situation and you're going to see the world through their eyes. You're going to put yourself in their shoes. Yeah. You're going to put on their glasses, like in your mind. You're going to say, what are they looking for? What do they care about? Well, what is the problem when you're hiring a cart attendant? 17, 18, 19 years old. What could go wrong? If you hired the wrong person, what would happen that would be bad for that store?
For example, they could crash into someone's car.
Exactly, David. Exactly. That's exactly what the manager is afraid of. This kid is going to be behind the store, smoking pot, you know, on duty, and they're going to crash the cart into somebody's car. That's exactly what they're afraid of. Or you're going to not come in. You're supposed to come in. You're not going to come in because you stayed up all night playing Dungeons and Dragons, whatever, right? This is their fear in their head. So on the interview, you have to let them know, I'm sure that has happened to you. Carts crashed into cars. This cart attendant doesn't come to work, but that's not me. And here's how you do it. It's easy. You're going to get this right away. They say to you, David, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? That's the first question, usually. Something like that. An open-ended question so you can just talk. David, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? If I ask you that question, what would your short answer be? David, tell me a little about yourself.
It would be something like, I'm a 17-year-old male. I like to, I don't know, go out with my friends, but I don't like to party as much. I like sports, and usually I'm a serious person, and I'm like, let's say, a perfectionist.
Beautiful. Okay, that's a beautiful answer. And are you 17 really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. You guys have your own podcast. That's fantastic. You're going to take that answer and you're going to shorten it and add a question like this. Oh yeah, thanks for asking. I'm David. I'm 17. I'm in school. I enjoy playing golf with my friends. Not a big partier. I'm kind of a serious person, but can I ask you a question about the job? Basically, you're going to turn, you're going to turn the thing around, and the manager at the Target is going to say, oh, sure, please do, David. Ask me a question. And then you're going to say, well, you know, I've never worked at Target before. In fact, I haven't worked. This would be my first job. I'm ready for a job. But I have been in the store, of course, with my parents and with my friends. And I've seen these cart attendants moving around, and I've mainly seen them going into the parking lot to get the carts and bring them back. I've seen them helping people get out to their car if they buy a TV or something big and bulky. I've seen them backing up the cashiers by stepping in when the cashier has a break and they'll be on the cash register. Maybe they're in the back of the store, opening boxes when things come off the truck. That's my understanding of the job. Is there anything I'm missing? You're going to say, this is what I think the job is. Is there anything I'm missing? And this hiring manager, David, is saying, thank you, God, for sending me David, because this is the kind of kid that I need. You just told him or her that you get it. You're awake, you're aware, you're paying attention. You already thought about what is the job, and you're just asking, is there anything else that I forgot? And they may say, well, actually, you clean the bathrooms too, but only once a day. But you're showing them so much by asking them a question. May I ask you a question? They say, yes. I've never heard of anybody saying, no, you can't ask a question. And then you ask your question, is there anything I'm missing? And it shows them that you completely get what you are there to do. And that is not a kid who's likely to smash a cart into somebody's vehicle.
Showing confidence and also switching roles is impactful. And
that's exactly right, Eduardo. And in a specific way, not pulling away the mic and saying, it's my turn to talk, but saying, in order for me to tailor my remarks, to be appropriate, to say the things that you most want to know about me, can I ask you a question? Yes. Here's my question. Do I understand this job correctly? Or is there something I'm missing? And then they get to answer that. You have taken the interview from a very low level to a higher level. Now you're talking like a business person to them. Is this what the job is? I want to make sure that I understand your needs, that I understand your needs. That's not a typical 17-year-old interview, but it's very, very, very effective.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Now I would like to ask you a question. Do you recommend that students get a job unrelated to the field they're studying in order to have an income and to get also some life experience?
Well, I don't want to get in trouble with anybody's parents, David. I love your parents. They are beautiful and they raised amazing young people. But yes, I do think it's great if you can figure out how to work even a few hours a week. What you get from going to work and learning how that is, and punching in or doing a timesheet, and the skills you learn at work, just the responsibility. It's like when you were a little kid, if you had chores around the house, maybe you have to like pick up your toys or rake up the leaves or shovel the snow, that kind of thing. Did you guys do that stuff when you were a kid?
yeah,
I would always line my toys perfectly.
I know you did, David. I know you did. That's great. It all builds something. It builds skills, awareness, sensitivity to needs. So yeah, I think it's great. I feel sad when I talk to people graduating not only from college, but grad school, 6 years of college usually, that have never worked. I feel like they really have an impairment, because learning how to be in the world and work with other people, even you working on this podcast together, it's such an important skill. I really think it's a very good thing if children can to have a job before you graduate from college.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I'm gonna dig a bit deeper into the subject, into the topic of getting hired.
Great.
So the question goes like this, Liz. Can I call you Liz?
Oh, please do.
Okay. Should you try negotiating your salary when you have no experience in the working field?
Probably not. Now help me pronounce your first name so I can address you.
My first name?
Yes.
You can call me Nectary.
Nectary, okay. I don't want to make the mistake I made with David, whose name was flipped, and it was his first name and his last name. Okay. Probably not. It's hard to negotiate when you don't have work experience, but later you will. You will negotiate later. But that very first job, it's kind of like they're going to say the job pays whatever per hour. Why would I pay you more when you don't have, experience to bring?
Well,
Later you can, though.
Yeah, but then what working conditions should we accept?
Well, that's a fantastic question. The first thing is that when you interview with in a company, you're going to get signals about what it's like to work there. Let's say it's a store, like Altex, is it? When you walk in there, you're going to see, what is it like? Is it a friendly place? Does it feel good when you're in there? Are the staff members, the employees, talking with each other in a friendly, casual way? Is it a warm energy? Or is it like, ugh, like if I make a mistake on the job here, I'm going to get in trouble and it's going to be a lot of stress. You're listening to your body, which has always done a good job of telling you the right people to be around and the wrong people to be around, and the right spaces to be in and the wrong ones, right? You remember from high school and grade school, I'm sure, the teachers that you really felt a good welcoming feeling in their classroom, and some others that you didn't necessarily. It's the same thing in the working world. In terms of the working conditions to accept, it has to be a fair wage. It has to be fair money for what the work is, right? If it's dangerous or something, don't do it. But, what a little bit what jobs pay, especially the jobs that 17, 18, 19-year-olds have. But it has to be a place where it's going to be okay for you to come in there. It has to be emotionally safe, and not every workplace is.
Yeah.
If you go to a place where they yell at the team members, it's no. Keep looking. Go to the next place.
Okay. What are some valuable tips for making our experience worthwhile in a company?
Oh, that's another great question. You are a sponge when you go into your first few jobs, right? You're just soaking up everything that they have to teach you, not just the managers, but the fellow employees. On any job, you can grow your skills, what you're able to do. You can grow your confidence. You can grow your network, the people you know. One thing about jobs is that they often expose you to people outside of your normal social circle, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys only met in college, right? You did not know each other in high school?
Oh, we are in high school.
You are in high school.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like you're in
Lessons
college.
learned.
Hey, you're so
Okay.
mature. That's the thing. You're so professional. You're in high school still. Okay. So you met in high school, or did some of you know each other from little?
Me and Rarish have known each other since the 5th grade.
That is adorable. I love it. I love it. And did you say in 5th grade, we're going to have a podcast one day, bro?
I mean, maybe it was a thought. I don't remember, but
That is great. I hope you get credit. Do you get high school credit for this?
well, not. I mean, maybe with our English classes, since we're
Yes.
speaking English.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you'll put this, if you do a college application, you'll put the podcast, you'll talk about creating a podcast and everything in your application. It's a real mark of, so you're in high school. I had that wrong. I thought you guys were in college. Okay. So the question was again, I forget. Sorry.
Yeah, immediately. The question was, what are some valuable tips for making our experience worthwhile in a
Oh
company?
yeah, that's right. So when you get a job, one of the great things is that you meet people way outside of people you would normally hang around with, just not your age, just from different countries, from different backgrounds. And that exposure to those people and that access to them is gold. It's really, really, really good. Just life lessons and hearing their stories and getting out of your own space, like you have a set of things that all high schoolers are interested in, different video games and music and Taylor Swift and whatever, and you get among different people, and it's really different. You're going to talk to people on a job that say, Taylor who? What? You say, how can you not? Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, and she's all over everything. She's like a massive figure in the world, and they're like, I don't know who it is. And you get exposed to different people, different ways of thinking, different ideas, and it's very, very powerful. So the way that you can make the most out of your job is questions. You don't understand something, you ask. And when you're young, you have a reason to ask. You get to be my age, and then you feel like, oh, I don't want to ask. Ask every question. Why does that work like that? I hired a guy, one of the first people I ever hired when I was 20, which
Wow.
was actually the same year that the Civil War ended. The United States Civil War ended the year that I was 20. See, that's a bad joke because you guys are in Romania. You wouldn't know. That's not true.
Some movies.
Yeah, I'm not exactly that old, but when I hired this guy, I interviewed him, and he was working at McDonald's, the fast food place, right? And
Yeah.
I was interviewing him to be on the phone at the time doing customer service. And I said, "So tell me about McDonald's." Obviously, I know about McDonald's. Everyone knows about McDonald's or any fast food place, right? It's not mysterious. You go to this window, you buy a hamburger and fries, and you leave. That, you know. He said, "It's fascinating. It's fascinating, McDonald's." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah. It's they know what they sold this day last year, and they know what they sold this day last week, and it's all on the data is all there." This is years ago. This is not last year. This is years and years and years, decades ago. And he said, "And it's all electronic, so they can give you exactly the number of buns and hamburgers and lettuce and fries and whatever that you need, and they track everything, and they break it all down, so it's actually really, really efficient, and they don't waste food, and it makes the systems faster, and blah, blah, blah." Kid was 19 years old, but he's paying attention. He's doing the job, but he's not just doing the job. He's getting altitude, like looking around and saying, "How does it work? How does it fit together?" That's what you want to do on a job. The more you understand about the working world and the business world or the academic world or the sports world, whatever you're interested in, the more you look and say, "How does it work? And how could I make my way in this world?" That kid that I hired when he was 19 and I was 20 is running a research institute now. Of course he is, because he has a brain that says, "How does it work? I want to understand it."
Okay, so in a nutshell, you're telling us that we should take advantage to ask everything about every single aspect, and in the moment we live, that company, that job, we should be a greater person than we were in the
Literally.
moment we entered
That's
that
it.
job.
Well
That's it.
said. Yes, it is. That's
Okay.
it. That's it.
Okay. Thank you for your answer.
That actually ties nicely to a quote that my father keeps on telling me. He says, "You know, when you get a job, you have to search either for knowledge or money, preferably both."
Yes. Yes. Love it. Your dad is so right. He's so right about that. And that's how you continue to move forward and also get stronger in yourself. I absolutely 100% agree with your dad there.
That's amazing. I have a question for you about career change.
Yes.
So it goes like this. Do you think there is something like a last chance when it comes to changing your career? What would be, for example, the first signs that you would have to change it? I also have some context. This was a question that was asked by someone on LinkedIn. And to give some context so we can talk on an example, what is your advice for someone making a career change after 20 years who has no degree and is a single parent? And he or she has 20 years of experience in title and escrow and ended his or her career as a commercial escrow officer.
Yeah. I, was an HR person and then began consulting and coaching and all that kind of thing. And the one thing that I have noticed about people in career change, if people, even if they're not changing careers, but they're looking for a new job, when you're in that state, I need a job, I need to get out of my company, or I don't have a job and I need a job, is they sink, right? They fall down. The day before they maybe got laid off or made redundant, their job went away, they might have been feeling great. They might have been thinking about, I'm going to go on vacation to Carpathian Mountains, I'm going to do something fun. I can't wait to see this wrestling, Royal Rumble, whatever. I'm looking forward to something. I'm thinking at a high level about life is good, and my daughter looks so cute when she went to kindergarten today. And then they lose the job and they just, right? They just fall down. Have you folks seen in school Maslow's hierarchy? Does that sound familiar?
Oh,
Pyramid.
Yeah,
You've
we
seen it.
we're
At the
familiar with
top,
that.
self-act. At the bottom,
Yeah.
food,
Yeah.
shelter.
Yeah.
Okay.
needs.
When you lose your job, you just fall right down that pyramid. Like, I am feeling great. I might even get a bicycle and start doing road races. And then you lose your job. Am I okay? And is anyone going to hire me? Do I have anything to offer? Am I a fraud? Am I a loser? Am I bad? Have I failed? I mean, we just fall all the way back down to, am I any good? Can I pay the rent next month? It's really tough psychologically. Okay. And so in that state, we don't feel our power. There is no end date for career change. There is no age when you're too old. If you're still working, you can change careers. People change careers now every 3, 5, 7 years, not just jobs, but career paths. If you worked in financial industry, escrow, I forgot what you said, mortgages maybe, it's fine. These things are transferable. They're so transferable. Anybody that would tell you that you can't do a job because you haven't done the job before does not know what they're talking about, unless it's something like electrician where you could kill yourself or someone else. These office jobs, they're alike. They're alike. If you could do one, you could do most of them, unless they're highly, highly technical or specialized. And so there's this myth that it's hard to change careers as you get older. No, it's not. If it were, there wouldn't be massive numbers of people changing careers all the time. But I understand the fear that goes along with job search and career change. Maybe I can't do it. No, you can 100% do it. You can change careers 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, at whatever age, as long as you are still working.
Okay, thank you. Do you happen to know someone that achieved this, like a successful career change and also had a lot of experience?
Yes, I'm a career coach, so I know thousands of someones who have done that. We teach in our company, Human Workplace, a non-traditional career management and career mindset, as well as practices that are not the standard. I started this career coaching process because I didn't like the advice that I saw. I was an HR person, remember? So I saw advice in stories and podcasts and articles and books, and I said, it's bad advice. It's bad advice. It tells people to shrink and to feel like they have to beg. Please give me a chance. No, I know thousands of people, literally, no exaggeration, who have changed careers after 20 years, 30 years by, first of all, getting altitude off the ground, kind of like what we talked about in an entry-level job. The young man that I hired, he was at McDonald's. He could have said, I make hamburgers, I put them in bags, I hand them to people, it's no big deal. But he said, no, listen to how it works together. It's a whole system. He got altitude on it, right? Like he got up at a higher level, and he said, how does this thing work, right? And anybody can do that, and they can get altitude on their own life and career. And that's what we want to do. Now you're 17, and you might say, what do I want from my working life? What do I want from my life? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to try? What do I want to learn? What's important to me? It's always a good idea to stop and look and say, where have I come from? And where am I going? And when you do that, you get power from it. You remember the obstacles that you've already overcome in your life. And all of you at age 17 have overcome obstacles. It hasn't always been easy for you. And when you think about that, you feel stronger. You know, maybe in 4th grade, before you guys met, there was a bully in your class, a really nasty kid. And what you didn't want to do it. There was, right? You know there was. And one day you had to say, don't push me, man. Don't push me, because we don't want to have that happen. And it was scary, but you still did it. And you got stronger. And every day in your life, you've gotten a little bit stronger. And so rather than thinking, oh, you're nothing, you don't have the background, you're changing industries, You think it only takes one manager to say, yes, I want you on my team. It takes one. And the rest of them who do not want you, God bless, they are welcome to live a long and happy life without you, but you don't need them. I tell people in transition and everyone, only the people who get you deserve you. Only the people who understand you and see your brilliance deserve you. Not every employer deserves you on their team. Not every manager deserves you. You will go on interviews that you say, no, I'm not taking that job. Good. That's a great day. You leave there and you say, on to the next. Those people are not the people. That's just as important as getting the job that you end up with.
I see. So let's say, for example, for this person that asked the questions, do you think there would be some sort of plan that they could follow? Let's say, first step, see what their hobbies or interests are in, what their skills are, and try to find matching jobs. Would that
Yes,
be?
yes, exactly. Exactly. They're going to get as much altitude as they can. That's step one. Our process, it's called Get Your Dream Job Formula, has 4 steps. And the first one is getting altitude, as I mentioned. So they're going to find a time, maybe a place in their house, in their apartment, get a journal, pen, if they like to drink tea or something, not Monster, but something calm, you know, and they sit, if they can be uninterrupted, and they just answer some questions and they think about their life so far. We never do this. People never do this. And it's so powerful. And they say, wow, you know, I have really accomplished some things. I've helped people. I've learned some things. Even in high school, you've done a tremendous amount. You probably babysat your baby cousin, and maybe you helped some kids that did a soccer camp, and you know, we do things and we just sort of forget about them, but they're all really powerful and part of your story, part of your path. So you get altitude and you don't say, what job do I want? That's lower. This is high level. And you say, what do I care about? What do I like to do? What do I not like to do? So you sort of answer a lot of questions to get clear and to get your mind thinking about not just what can I get, who would hire me, but what do I deserve and what do I want? And then from there, it will crystallize. That vision that you're creating or allowing to take shape will crystallize, and you'll say, you know, I've always been interested in healthcare. I've been in the mortgage business doing escrow. I never had anything to do with healthcare, but once my mother got ill and I watched her progress, I want to work in healthcare. I want to help people. And you will start to see the connections, and they are there, between what you've done already in the escrow business and what you might be able to do in healthcare. And you will see them and they will jump out at you. Then step 2 is you will brand yourself for the job you want. Not every job you could do. Not every job you've done. It's branding yourself. Remember, that hiring manager is the customer. So you have to market to them so they can see in your resume and your LinkedIn profile that you could really help them out. Step 3 is you create a strategy and you start to have interviews. On interviews, we talk about a process that we invented and designed at Human Workplace called dragon slaying stories. You know, the knights of old that would slay the dragon,
Yeah.
or tame the dragon if you do not want to hurt dragons. But it's the idea, I have done some things. I have slain or tamed some dragons already in my life. I have some stories, that story about that time that I, you know, helped the coach teach the younger kids how to play basketball. That story about the time that I helped my mother and the ladies in the neighborhood, you know, organize an event or whatever. You don't have to get paid. It's a dragon slaying story because you felt powerful and you made something good happen. And collecting those stories and putting them in your journal is part of getting altitude and getting your power and your confidence back, but it's also part of your branding. And the further you go in your career, the more powerful those stories become. And then the final step is interviewing with confidence, the way we talked about at Target or Altex, and getting your dream job.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now, going aside from jobs, going to businesses,
Yes.
as a CEO, you had to start from somewhere. And I have, the question would be like, what would be the right steps to grow business from nothing, from ground below?
Yeah, it's a great question. If you're going to start a business, you want to have an idea of a type of need that you can fill, or another way to say that is a kind of pain that you can solve or relieve for someone, for an individual, for a couple, for a family, or for an organization. What kind of pain can I solve? When I left the corporate world 25 years ago and I started consulting, the kind of pain that I was solving for employers as a consultant was they were having trouble hiring people. So I got really, really into the hiring process, the recruiting process, the best way to write a job ad, the best way to interview candidates. I hate the way we write job ads. I hate the way we interview candidates. It's all very old and bad and unhelpful and actually drives talented candidates away. So I helped organizations modernize and humanize their recruiting process, and it makes a huge positive difference. Then I got interested in career coaching and helping individuals. Same thing, helping them with their branding, as we just talked about, helping them with their direction and their confidence and stepping into jobs that they might have felt they're not qualified for, but they are, right? Could be a career change, could be not a career change, but it's the idea of finding a problem you can solve. And you have right now problems you can solve. Age 17, age 16, someone has snow on their sidewalk. That's a problem you could solve if you have a shovel, right? Somebody has a dog that they need walked and they are in a wheelchair and they can't walk the dog or they can't get out. I'll walk dogs. You know, you're out there, you have a business walking dogs. That's how people start businesses at any age, is they look for a problem they can solve.
So it's not about thinking, how can I earn money from this guy? It's about looking from another perspective, like how can I serve and solve his problem?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because it's the perfect company to start is one that you solve a problem that is difficult for people to solve on their own. They don't have the time or they don't have the skills or whatever, and that will pay you enough to justify your investing time in it. I mean, one good thing about the era when I grew up a minute ago was that there were so many jobs for young people, not jobs, but like babysitting and shoveling snow and raking leaves, that I got used to asking people for money, or not asking them for money, but saying, hey, would you like me to, to watch your kids on the weekends? And they'd say yes. So you get used to having those conversations, and not all young people are used to that these days. And I think that's really important, is just saying, would it be helpful? Just a few years ago, when my youngest was in middle school, about 11 years old, I was working full time, and one of my daughter, I have a daughter who's a little bit older. She was in high school, and one of her friends said, "Hey, Liz, would you like me to pick up your son, take him to the pool, swim with him, get him really tired, take him for a slice of pizza or something to eat, and then bring him home in the afternoons this summer when he's not in school?" And I said, yes, of course, that would be amazing. And she did. All summer, she picked up my son, took him to the pool. He got to be a much better swimmer. She took him for pizza or something, I don't know what, and then brought him home. And it was a beautiful solution. But she didn't come and say, how could I make money? She said, would this be a helpful problem solver for you? She packaged it. She said, would it help you if I did this? I said, of course, that's amazing. And that's the way you want to think also. What's a problem that you could package a solution to and take it to people, individuals or couples or families or organizations?
That's a good friend.
Yes, yes.
Continuing, if you ask my friends here word that describes me the best, probably they will say family. So as you mentioned, family and career can interview with each other, and with all this globalization and working from, I don't know, 9 to 5, we don't have this much time for family. So how can we make sure we have the perfect life-work balance? How can we make sure our family is safe, is in a in a good posture, I would say, and how can we prevent um, the job getting over the family?
Yes. Now, help me pronounce your name so I get it right.
Eduardo, Edo.
Eduardo. Oh, Edo. Oh, it changed. You were here, now you're here. Okay. You moved. Okay. Um, work-life balance. Yeah. And school, right? Work and school and life. You got three things going on.
Yeah.
And do you have, Edo, do you have anything else going on? Like, do you play on a sports team or do you?
Yeah, I go to the gym 3 times a week. Also, I
Okay.
had another podcast that ended. So
Yet another podcast. Wow, you are out there. You are doing it. Okay, so you got the gym, you've got the school, and life, and then you've got your friends. You got to see your
yeah,
friends, right? Got to have a social life. Okay, and maybe once in a while you go to concerts or do something else. A bigger thing. Yeah,
parties, something. Yeah,
parties. You got to go to parties. So yeah, so you have a whole busy life to fit together. I think the key, if the question is how do I pay enough attention to my family and really enjoy and invest in them, I would ask them. I would ask your family members, say, look, I'm really busy. I'm 17. It's a normal thing. What would be most, what do you like to do with me? Or, do you want to take a walk? Do you like to just have me in the car when you go do errands on the weekend and stop at the boring places, the grocery store and the hardware store? Or, I think your family would be very touched and very happy if you said, you are important to me. How can I show you that? How can I show you that? What would be things? I'll set aside time if you want to see my schoolwork and see what I'm learning in my classes. I'm happy to show you. If you want to go to the movies, sometime and see a movie, I'll go with you. I think people like to be asked, what you've heard this term, and it's not exactly appropriate for this situation, but they talk about love languages. Have you heard that? What's
yeah,
your
yeah,
love language?
yeah.
Yeah.
The five.
So for some,
Yeah.
you've heard, sorry?
There are 5 love languages from what I know, right?
Okay. Well, they say that, but it's like kind of silly. It's like anything could be a love language. This idea that there's 5 love languages. Who decided? God, Stephen Hawking? I mean, it's like, what? Who made that up? There are 5 love. There were 4, then we added another one, and now there's 5. It's like for some people, love languages just do the crossword puzzle with me. For some people, the love languages, asking me about my friends that I see. A lot of grown-ups, like your parents, they have friends, and when the child says, "So how is your sister? Is she feeling better?" It's like, "Oh, Edo, I raised a good boy. You're asking about your aunt." You know what I mean? So discovering what someone's love languages and what they value, that's like such a wonderful thing. And it's a great question for you to ask, because a lot of 17-year-olds are very, very busy. They're not thinking about their family, but I think it's wonderful that you are. So hats off to your parents. They raised a good one.
Thank you.
What else?
Okay. Related to the previous question before the one who Edo asked, I want to ask you, is it true that if you are eager to serve more and more people, you are generous, you will pretty much be rewarded for your efforts? I mean, if you get hired, you get to serve only the employer.
Right.
Is it right that, I mean, I think it's a cool metaphor. You serve more people, you get rewarded for your efforts. What do you think? What do you think about this?
I think it's generally true, but it depends on who gets access to you, who gets to be around you, because there are, unfortunately, workplaces, there are employers that are not healthy. They're not great. You've probably been in some of them, if it's a store or a restaurant or a place where people can walk in off the street. You probably have been in a place where you're like, oh, they're kind of mean. So if you're in a good, healthy place, then yeah, the more people you serve and the more value that you create, the better for you. But you have to be careful. It's that thing, only the people that get you, that see they vibe to your jazz, you know. Those are the people that you want to spend your time with, not the people that, you know, you could get a job, especially as a young person, with a company or a boss that doesn't treat you that well. And they're kind of mean, you know, and then you're going to get another job and you're going to leave, because I don't want you to put up with that.
Okay. And the last main question for tonight. Networking is crucial for career growth. What approaches and platforms do you recommend people to build strong professional networks, and how can they leverage these connections to enhance their careers?
Okay, great question. I never get that question from high schoolers, so that's amazing. This right here, this podcast, these four, we got four, right?
Yeah.
Four
Yeah,
amazing
four.
people. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. What connects you to you four? It's a voltage, right? Like an electrical current. Zzz. You've got the voltage. Edo, this is your second podcast? You're 17? You're already on your second podcast? Okay. You have a spark. You all have the spark. You know that, right? And it's what kind of sets you apart. You have a spark in you. And that's what you want to look for. There are platforms. LinkedIn is for, you know, me and the people my age, and it's kids say it's boring and everything. You know, Facebook, I don't know, in Romania and the US, it's kind of, you know, I don't know.
Yes,
not-
yeah, I do.
the
In
same,
Romania also.
same thing.
Yeah,
You know,
it's helpful.
TikTok now and Instagram. I
Yeah.
honestly wouldn't worry too much. Online presence, you're all very, very what's the word? Telegenic and great on camera and fun and smart and awesome, so that you could have, you know, any of those kind of social media career that you want to have. You totally will, right? You totally will, if that's important to you. You know, the four Romanian guys, you know, making it happen. So that's fine, but it's more the energy between people. It's really, networking for me is much more about the energy among and between people. You take care to spend your time with the right people. You know who they are, and avoid the wrong people. You're in school, you only have so much control over your schedule, but as you leave school, are you graduating in the spring?
Oh, we
Uh,
have one more year.
No,
One more
next
year. Okay. Okay. So once you're, you know, you'll have more freedom a little bit later, but it's all about the people that you spend time with. You can get on all the platforms and everything, but if you, let's say you join LinkedIn, you're going to immediately ask, well, what do I want out of this site? Do I want to grow my podcast audience? That's a good goal. That's fine. Grow my podcast audience. Do I want to get guests for the podcast? That's another really good goal. Do I want people to know about me so that if I start a web design business or a digital marketing business while I'm in college or after I'm out of high school, I'll get clients? That's a really good goal. Or do I just want to share my thought leadership and let people know what I think and how I think about? Or do I want to spread the word about these four awesome Romanian guys and their cool, you know, proto business, whatever? It takes a little bit of thought, but you can also just feel your way. I'm not a big fan of that sort of like structured, strategic networking. I've never been into that. And I have 3 million LinkedIn followers, you know. It didn't come from saying, now I will go and get another 10,000 followers. It's like, ew, I'm just going to tell you what I think, like we're doing right now. And you will draw in the right people. You will draw in the right people and repel the wrong people. And that's what you want.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. And unfortunately, this is all the time we had for today.
Of course.
But wow, this was an amazing episode. I think I say it will do great. And thank you so much for coming here today and talking with us, answering our questions. It was lovely.
Oh, well, you guys are the greatest. So, you know, thank you. Mulțumesc. And, you know, we'll see you down the road.
Thank you too.
Thank you
Yeah.
so
Same
much.
here.
It was
Thank
so
you
nice.
so much.
Please.